Hello everyone, I'm John Bernard Sicabalbag and I'm here to report to you the related machineries and equipment used in paper manufacturing. First is the pulp mills. Pulp mills are used to separate the fibers of wood or from other materials such as rags, waste paper, or straw in order to create pulp. A pulp mill is a manufacturing facility that converts wood chips or other plant fiber source into a thick fiberboard which can be shipped into a paper mill for further processing. Next is the paper mills. Paper mills primarily are engaged in manufacturing paper from wood pulp and other fiber pulp. A paper mill is a factory devoted in making paper from vegetable fibers such as wood pulp, old rugs, and other ingredients. In addition to that, prior to the invention and adaptation of the Fourdrinier machine and other types of paper machine that use as an endless belt, all paper in the paper mill was made by hand, one sheet at a time by specialized laborer. The other one is the debarker. Bark is stripped from the logs by knife, drum, abrasion, or hydraulic barker. The stripped bark is then used for fuel or as soil enrichment. As you can see in the picture, there are two types of debarker, the manually and the mechanical. In manually debarker, it was operated by a man, while the mechanical debarker is operated by the machine itself. Next is the chipping machine. It is a machine used for reducing wood, generally tree limbs or trunks, into smaller wood chips. They are often portable, being mounted on wheels on frames suitable for towing behind a truck or van. They are also high-powered chipper models mounted on trucks and powered by a separate engine. These models usually have a hydraulic crane. Other features of a chipping machine or a tree chippers are typically made of hopper with a collar, the chipper mechanism itself, and an optional collection bin for the chips. Another equipment is the hydropulper. The wood fibers are brought into a circular tank containing water. This has a very powerful agitator at the bottom which breaks up the bales, which is the wooden fibers, into the small pieces. Or simply, this machine is responsible for most secondary fiber pulping. The fibrous material is dropped into a large tank or pulper and mixed by a rotor. The pulper may contain either hot water or pulping chemicals to promote dissolution of the paper matrix. Debris and impurities are removed by ruggers and junkers. Paper making machine. A slurry fiber, usually wood or other vegetable fibers, is drained to create a continuous paper web. After the forming section, the wet web passes through a press section to squeeze out excess water, then the pressed web passes through a heated drying section. This machine is where the paper is formed. The other one is the refiner. Refiners are machines that mechanically macerate and or cut pulp fibers before they are made into paper. These are two principal types, the disc and the conical refiners. These refiners are superseded the conical refiners for many purposes as they offer many disadvantages. The operation of the conical refiner is somewhat similar to the operation of the disc refiners, except for the geometry of the refiners. The conical refiners, the refining surfaces are on the tapered plug. These surfaces consist of a rotor that turns against the housing and the stator, both of which contain metal bars mounted perpendicularly to rotation. Another important equipment is the twin wire former. This machine captures the stock jet in the converging nip form between the two fabric covered rolls. These are also sometimes referred to as gap formers. There are four types of twin wire formers: the blade, roll, hybrid, and roll and blade twin wire formers. For you to visualize more on how the twin wire former works, let's watch the video clip. In a twin wire paper forming machine or gap former, the jet of furnish from the headbox is directed into the narrowing gap between the two forming fabrics. Water is removed in both directions. The rate of water removal may be enhanced by passing the pair of forming fabrics around a roll, over blades, or over vacuum elements. Okay, next is the coating machine. A primary reel on which paper deficiencies can be removed is superposed to the coating machine. To bridge setup times at the coating machine, this primary reel has to operate at a higher speed than the paper machine. It has an unwinding system designed for use of a flying splice. Calendar machine. A machine that takes paper from a reel and winds into a core and usually slits and trims the edges at the same time. Calendars can also be used to process papers into film and sheeting, and to apply a plastic coating to textiles or other supporting and substrate materials. In calendaring film and sheeting, the plastic compound is passed between a series of 3 or 4 large, heated, revolving rollers. They squeeze the material between them into a sheet or film. Calendar also plays several functions. One is the trimming. In order to improve the smoothness, gloss, and tightness of the paper, or to increase the smoothness and gloss while maintaining the bulkiness, that is, tightness in increased little. The second is to correct the thickness of the paper web, or to maintain relatively uniform tightness. The broken length of the calendared paper will increase the folding times. Another machine that is used in paper manufacturing is the rewinder machine. The function of the rewinder is to rewind the reels from one tambour to another tambour. Here, the web run can be changed from the outer to the inner side. The reel edges may be cut and deficiencies in the paper can be removed. Sliter rewinder. The finished paper on which a tambour still has a full machine width is cut to smaller reels on the sliter rewinder. Circular knives cut the tambour to reels of specified width while the tambour is being unwound. This sliter rewinder, depending on the paper type, these reels are now ready for delivery to the customer, or they are transported to a cross cutter where the paper is cut to sheets. Cross cutter. In a cross cutter, the smaller reels that have been cut to size from tambours by a sliter rewinder are cut to sheets of a specified size. Several reels can be processed simultaneously, depending on the design of the cross cutter and the cutting weight of the paper. The important thing here is to produce sheets with cutting edges. In other words, to prevent cutting dust from clinging the edges, since this would cause problems in the printing process. The paper reels feed into the cross cutter are trimmed on both edges and separated in longitudinal direction by circular knives. The web is then cut off to the required size by the chopper knife. Last equipment used in paper manufacturing is the guillotine. Guillotine type cutters are used for cutting relatively small quantities of paper in special sizes. In these cases, completely refitting the cross cutter would not be economically sensible, since guillotines are also used for the so-called four-sided trim, which is necessary for certain print jobs. Guillotine is the last resort used in paper manufacturing, and simply it is a machine for beheading by means of a heavy blade that slides down in vertical guides. And that's all. But to sum it up, these machines and equipment used in manufacturing papers are very useful because without them, no papers produced. And we don't have papers that we will going to use. And as a reminder, we must conserve our papers because papers came from our trees, so don't waste it. Consume it wisely. You can reuse it by using the back portion so that you can preserve our environment and conserve our trees as well. But before I will going to end my report, I will leave you a quotation. Your degree is just a piece of paper. Your education is seen in your behavior. As for my reflection to that, our degree doesn't define on how we treat and deal to others, but our behavior itself dictates who we are. Just be humble and be proud as we write our journey in our own paper. Thank you.